I wanted to talk about the await. So await is a sugar coating of promise. So what it does, it simplifies the call. For example, we have fetch here. So regular fetch has three steps. So first it gets the data, then it you can just parse it. You'll say JSON or text file. You just parse it, and on the next one you get that response and assign to anything you want. So this is the place where you work. But await, it just simplifies everything. It just returns and assigns to the response. But so there's a confusion. Um, it's not a confusion, but I think some people don't think that there might. Some people will have like awaits, like here, like 8 awaits, and wouldn't understand why it takes longer than fetch. The reason is await is not like the promise. It doesn't go to the next line until it gets this. So here you need to add catch. So you need to catch the error. I didn't add it here, but so await wouldn't go to the next line. It will just halt it. So that's the reason. So let me show you the example. So if I go to fetch HTML, yeah. So the fetch HTML is so fetch HTML, fetch JS. It just goes, gets the data and just does everything asynchronously. So when it when the data is done, it will just call it calls this credentials, and credentials will check. So there might be some problem like why some people will use await because they need to get like 8 results together, then they call like credentials and then run and do something. So before one is done, they cannot do anything, so they will wait. They will use this way. But my suggestion is instead of doing waiting like this, just add some checking. So here we don't need checking because this wouldn't come to credentials before or everything is done. So this people think that this would simplify the for them, but the simpler way is to use the fetch. But on each fetch, you just call the function you want to run as if you've done you finish it there, but the function will check whether all of them are ready. So if 8 is not ready, for example, 7 gets the response earlier and it just calls credentials. And credentials there would be checking and it will say, okay, if 1 is done, so is 1 done? If not, it just calls return and it just breaks this function. It doesn't call this credentials. It doesn't work. So when everything is done, all of them are calling the same function, and when all of them are not equal to null, it just says all done. So let's see in the here. So fetch. So I'll just refresh, and as you see, so I can refresh again. So as you see, it takes like 400 milliseconds. Yeah, it's not even 1 second. But if you go to await and you refresh, it takes 1400 seconds. So it's one. So it's 1.5, 1200. So it's like 1 second. So even on this and on this, it's the difference is twice. So imagine if you have something like this, you need to call like 100 APIs. Even though it seems easier to use await, but your time will be different and it would be easier. So what you do, you just get everything on each call. You just call credentials, and you just check that array is you have an array, and you just check it. If it's less, then that means your loop is not done, and you just go and just return it. So let's see. So first I'll call fetch loop. So if you see, 100 calls, and 100 calls, it takes approximately 2 seconds. Yeah, 2.5, so like 1600. So it's between 1.5 and 2 seconds, yeah. And if I call now await, and await because it doesn't go to the next line before you finish it, look at the timer. It's still working, and it takes like 15 seconds to finish this. So await, it might be good for sugarcoating, but for big data, I suggest just doing some checking, and if the checking is done, you just go to the next step. So that's it. If you have any other suggestions, just write at the bottom. So it's interesting for me too. Thanks.